Okay, I'm gonna try to make this as quick as I can. Today I'm shooting these Victory VAP Elite 350 arrows. These arrows are awesome. One of the things Victory does with their arrows is you see this line running down here? They mark the spine, they call it spine aligned. And they line up their cock fletch or feather exactly with the spine of the arrow from the factory. What that does for you, when you shoot an arrow, you load it in the bow and you have your cock fletching pointed up every time, that arrow comes out of the bow exactly the same. It flexes exactly the same every time. If you've got a standard dozen arrows, you fletch them up, stick them in the bow, you have no idea which way the spine is pointed. It could be up, it could be sideways, it could be down. When you shoot that arrow, it's going to flex a little different every time as it leaves the bow. With it flexing exactly the same, that's huge for accuracy long downrange. Another thing about these arrows, they are 0.001 straightness tolerance, which is as straight as you're going to get in an arrow. They're also 0.166 outside diameter. What that means is they're extremely tiny on the outside, a lot smaller than any other arrow on the market. There's a couple others in the same ballpark, but that is as small as you're going to get, which today we got several mile-an-hour crosswinds here. You can see that dust blowing. It's kind of hard to hear on here, but hopefully you saw that. It's going to drift my arrow to the side, maybe 8 inches, because I'm going to shoot 130 yards here. It's going to drift me about this far probably. If I shot a standard diameter arrow, I'd probably be drifting twice that, maybe 15, 16 inches. So it's really huge. It cuts down on your wind drift to, you know, here instead of here, which is big difference in group size versus this. The other thing about these arrows, they have a penetrator tip is what it's called, but the tip is bigger than the rest of the arrow, and it actually goes down over the arrow. It goes over the end of it, which strengthens the end of the arrow. But it's a 40 grain tip with a 100 grain head on here. I got 140 grains right here at the end of my arrow. My whole arrow is only 380 grains. 140 of that's right here at the end. So you can imagine it has a lot of front of center to it, and it's kind of like throwing a dart. You know, little light dart in the back, all the weight in the front, throwing it at a dartboard. It flies perfect. These arrows fly amazing at long range, and a lot of it has to do with that. Also, they have what's called an ice coating. You can see right here that from here down it's coated, from here up it isn't. It's coated with what they call ice, but it's a nano ceramic technology that bonds molecularly to the carbon. And what it does is, when this thing hits the target, I've got a big fat penetrator tip. It's bigger than the arrow, so it makes a big hole. Now I got a thin arrow, a skinny arrow flying through behind it, which obviously is going to penetrate well. There's not much friction. You throw on top of that the ceramic coating, it really out penetrates other arrows. It just flies into these targets. It flies through animals, and it'll penetrate a lot better for you. The other thing is, this is a 3D target, and when I shoot it in a minute here, I'm going to pull my arrow out. You can see how windy this is. It's really going to affect my shooting. But when I pull this arrow out of this target in a minute here, if you've ever shot a 3D target, you know that you have to get 2 hands on them and pull. Sometimes 2 people pull. You might have to put your body up against it and pull to get your arrow out, because it's so hard to pull arrows out of 3D targets. You're going to see me pull this out of here with 2 fingers, maybe with a hand, depending on how hard it's in, but it's going to come right out because of that coating. It's amazing stuff. The other thing about this arrow that's real important is this V-knock, is what they call it. This aluminum V-knock. All these arrows come with these aluminum knocks from Victory, and this knock is a huge difference maker when it comes to long range accuracy. This knock in itself makes a big difference, and let me tell you a couple things it does. First of all, the aluminum extends down into the end of this arrow a ways. So when I miss my target out here and I hit dirt and rock, with a plastic knock, that knock will break and the end of this arrow will bust and break up. With this aluminum knock, because that hole into that arrow has aluminum inside of it, it's hard. I've hit rocks at 150, 160 yards, skipped off through the brush, and not broken arrows. I mean, they're just incredible. The other thing it does is, if you Robin Hood one of these arrows, if you Robin Hood a plastic knock, it's going to break and blow up, and the arrow is going to continue down into the back of this arrow, destroy this whole arrow. You're going to have a $15, $16 arrow that you have to throw away. With these aluminum knocks, you can see I've actually Robin Hooded this knock. I shot it several months back, took a chunk out of the knock. This is still good. The same inside diameter. I'm still shooting it. I've been shooting it for months. It hasn't affected my accuracy at all, and it deflected the energy away from the arrow and into the target, and it saved me, you know, 15 or 16 bucks, whatever it costs to replace this. With a plastic nock, I would have lost an arrow. The other thing, the real important part of this aluminum nock, is it's machined aluminum. It has the exact same inside diameter. Every single one of these grabs the string exactly the same, and it takes this same amount of force to leave the string. So when I shoot, let's say I have a bunch of plastic nocks from the factory. One of them clips on the string tight, one of them clips on loose. Over time they open up so they're barely holding. Guys have dry fired their bow where they go to shoot and the arrow falls off because the nock's loose and they dry fire. Or it's cracked because it's plastic and they don't know it's cracked. You have to tighten them up. So you have all these different nocks holding the string in a different way. So when they shoot, it takes a different amount of force to leave the string. It's not consistent. With these aluminum nocks, it's the exact same amount of energy, leaves the string the exact same way every time, super consistent, and it comes off with the spine facing the same direction. So it comes off with the exact same flex every time. Huge difference maker when it comes to downrange accuracy. I've talked about it enough. I'm going to run out here 130 yards and shoot a couple arrows into this beauty caribou. You can see there's no arrows in it right now. I'm going to just back up here and launch a couple arrows. You're going to watch me and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be all the way out by that saguaro there shooting. Whew. It's not that far, 130 yards, but it's enough to make you shooting not be that great. And I'll tell you what, I shot one arrow, first shot. You can see it's my chipped nock I just had in my hand. There it is. And you can see where I hit. 130 yards, dead nuts. I mean, incredible. You can't get more accurate than that. I'm off by maybe an inch at 130 yards. I don't know about you, but that to me is why I shoot Victory arrows. If you don't have them, you need to go check them out. Let me show you the arrow removal here. Again, it's a 3D target. You know how hard it is to pull them out of them. I'm gonna stand to the side here. Look at that. What, 3 fingers? Stand here and pull it right out. Nothing. That ice coating is amazing stuff. Go check out Victory arrows.